79 children are still missing after being housed in a Brighton hotel while their asylum claims were being investigated, according to an investigation by the Observer newspaper. A whistleblower has spoken to the paper about the disappearance of the children, saying that the Home Office ignored repeated warnings that they would be trafficked by organised crime gangs. Well, I'm joined now by Labour councillor Bella Sankey, who represents Wishward at Brighton and Hove City Council. And Bella Sankey, just tell us a little bit about what we know about who these children are, what ages are they and where they've come from.
Well, at the moment we have very little information because when we've asked questions of the Green administration here in Brighton and Hove, we haven't had much transparency. We know that the children that have gone missing are all under 18. We know that they've come from various countries. And we know that, as with asylum-seeking children and indeed any people seeking asylum, they will have suffered already extreme trauma, sometimes violence, and sometimes some of the most unthinkable things. So the fact that so many have now gone missing is absolutely horrific.
And what is the theory about where they are going and where they're ending up?
So, firstly, huge credit to this very brave whistleblower that has come forward to shine a light on what is going on. And in the Observer piece that was published yesterday, they go into some detail about how children are being effectively kidnapped from the street outside of this hotel in Hove. And there is evidence that they are being trafficked all around the country because there have been some arrests by police already. But we know that there are still so many children that are missing. So the fear is, and now we know to be the case, that serious organised crime is targeting this hotel and is trafficking these children into the criminal underworld. Now, none of this is a surprise. In fact, the Labour Party warned that this would happen when these hotels were created by the Conservative government back in 2001. We also warned the Green administration in Brighton and Hove that serious organised crime would target these children. However, this was met with blank denial, refusal to engage, and now look at what's happened and what we now know. All of those fears have been, have come to light and have been proven.
Let's be clear, if these were British children being housed together in a hotel like this, do you think they would be being treated differently? Do you think they would have a different level of supervision, perhaps?
I think that's a really excellent question. And I think the first answer to that is that it's completely unlawful to house children in this way, whether they are British or whether they have a different nationality. So that's the first point. What the Home Office is doing here is clearly unlawful. There is no legal power to move children from one local authority area to another and to abandon them in hotels in this way. But I think the second answer to that question is, of course not. Of course it wouldn't have been able to go on this long, this absolutely horrific and unlawful practice, if these children were British. 5 classrooms of children have gone missing from Brighton and Hove. One child is too many, but that is a huge number of children. And that's why the Labour group on Brighton and Hove City Council is calling for the resignation of the Green leader of the council and of the deputy leader of the council. You cannot preside over a child safeguarding disaster like this and not take political responsibility for what you're doing.
And in terms of these children, you're saying this hotel is essentially a de facto children's home. We know that in the past there have been children and children's homes have been targeted by criminal gangs before. We've certainly seen young girls being targeted by unscrupulous gangs around these kind of homes. But are these particular children that are in these homes mainly young men, or is it a mixture of both young men and young women?
We believe that the children in this hotel are boys that have gone missing and that have been targeted in this way. And I think you're absolutely right to draw attention to the fact that there is so much institutional experience of this. After the horrors of grooming in Rochdale, we know that children, vulnerable children, are targeted by predators and by serious organised crime. So there is absolutely no excuse for another Rochdale, but yet that's what we're seeing unfold here. We've been working with the voluntary sector in Brighton and Hove, who have been moving heaven and earth to try and protect these children, but without the cooperation of either the Green administration or the Home Office that has placed the children in these hotels. And they have told us that they have known that criminal networks are targeting these kids. And as the whistleblower says, it's happening in broad daylight outside of the hotel. This is a child safeguarding catastrophe, but it's been going on in plain sight. And both of the institutions responsible for these children have been turning a blind eye, blaming one another and passing the buck.
And what would you like to see happen now? I mean, you talked about the political fallout. You would like to see resignations at the council. But what do you think should happen to these hotels and the children within them?
These hotels need to be immediately shut down. They should never have been created in the first place. And it's a modern day scandal that they were. So the hotels need to be shut down with immediate effect. And the Home Office needs to get on with doing that yesterday. What also needs to happen is that children that have been put in these hotels need to be immediately placed in foster care placements around the country. We have something called the National Transfer Scheme that was set up exactly for this situation, so that when children arrive unaccompanied, without their parents and without a guardian in this country, claiming asylum, they should be immediately put into caring foster care placements. And the scheme was designed so that every local authority would play its part in protecting these children. There is no reason why that scheme should not be being made operationally effective, so that no child has to go to a hotel for any length of time whatsoever. At the moment, we know through Freedom of Information requests that children are being placed in these hotels for just over 2 weeks. It's completely unnecessary. It should never have happened. The hotels must go and children must be put immediately into foster care placements.
OK, Bella Sankey, Labour councillor for Wishward, Brighton and Hove City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.